Welcome to Science Snippets. I'm your host, Mr. Leibner, here with my co-host,
Mrs. Ansel. We love Earth science, and we're here to talk about some current events in the field.
So buckle up and get ready to blast off, because Earth science rocks!
This time on Science Snippets, we're going to talk about Mr. Leibner's upcoming flight on SOFIA.
It's fine.
And get rid of the silence.
Get rid of the silence.
All right. So, Leibner, heading out this weekend, going to California, going to fly on SOFIA. So why don't you tell everybody sort of what's the purpose behind SOFIA? What is it? Why is it a big deal?
I would like to spend the first minute discussing what we were just discussing, that you were afraid that you had a booger out of your nose for a recording that's audio only, and how you said that would really bother you if you did the whole thing and you didn't know. I'd like to address that first, and then we'll come back to SOFIA.
So whether or not I'm doing an audio recording or sitting by myself, I prefer to not have mucus and boogers hanging out of my nose at any time during the day. So the recording part's irrelevant.
Okay.
I just prefer all mucus to stay in the nostrils.
So you refuse to blow your nose?
Okay. Dangling mucus. Is that a better term?
Oh,
I don't mind it going straight into a tissue.
Nothing about this is better.
Okay. You want me to tell you if you have a dangling mucus?
No, I'm fine with it.
I mean, I told you that one time when you had your mask on.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
How did
That's
you say
what
it with my
friends
mask
do.
on?
You put your mask down to say something, and I noticed it.
And there were boogers everywhere?
No, there was one little booger.
I don't remember, but thanks, friend.
Yeah. See, you wouldn't tell me, I would tell you. And now we know who's the better friend.
I'm not going to tell you, not because I'm not a good friend, but because I think it's funny, which might mean that I'm not a good friend because I choose humor over your...
You choose your own entertainment over your friend's well-being. How does that make you feel?
I think well-being is stretching it a little much. I think that's probably too severe in this particular instance.
What word would you choose?
I mean, it's not like detrimental to your existence.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
So
it might be humiliating.
True. So if you were to reword my sentence, I choose my own entertainment over your, what would you say?
Humiliation. But I would never change your sentence.
Okay.
Whoever brings you joy.
No, it's obviously whatever brings you joy.
Evidently. So, SOFIA is, I think everyone associated with SOFIA will prefer that we not make this podcast now, because we spent the first 2.5 minutes talking about boogers and mucus.
Yes.
And yet, here
we were
are.
the chosen ones.
The good news is the 6 people that are going to hear this don't mind.
That's true. Our huge audience of friends and family. Primarily
And
family.
Self. So, SOFIA is a flying telescope. All right, it's a flying laboratory. So there is a enormous Boeing airplane that is several decades old that was converted and updated to house a telescope in the back portion of the plane. And this telescope can have multiple attachments to it. And its primary function and purpose is for the investigation and exploration of galaxies, star-making regions, and other things that are viewed primarily through infrared instrumentation. Mm-hmm. So it can do visible light, but the primary focus and thrust of it is infrared astronomy. Mm-hmm. So that's what it is.
So when you take this flight on SOFIA...
I forgot your original question.
No, it was basically it. I asked the purpose behind SOFIA, and you told us that was it.
Yep. SOFIA has a niche that not many other platforms can provide, and that's because of the altitude. It doesn't get into orbit, obviously, because it's an airplane, but it does get above the majority of the water vapor that is in the atmosphere, which means it can view things with a higher fidelity and with less interference than other ground-based observatories can do.
Yeah, I was floored when I started learning about it, that airborne astronomy has been around for almost 100 years, or pretty much right around 100 years, at a simplistic, of course it was much more simplistic back then, and the purpose was a little different. But going from, what was it, the Kuiper Observatory before SOFIA, the huge increase to go to SOFIA, like, that's pretty pretty wild. So
can we pause for a second
yeah.
and say congratulations to you for also being an Airborne ambassador?
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, that's
I'm
awesome.
excited
Congratulations.
about it. Thank you.
Do you have any idea when your flight's going to be?
Next school year sometime.
Okay.
But I'm not sure when.
Okay.
Yep. So we'll see. We'll see if it's a flight. We'll see if it's, what is it?
Mauna Kea.
Yeah. IRTS. I can't have a hard time with those letters.
It's an acronym.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Observatory of Mauna Kea.
Yes. So we'll see which one.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, hopefully Congress continues to fund it because it's an exceptional piece of machinery and it's a very unique set of people and investigations because even Mauna Kea can't do all of the same things that SOFIA can do.
Oh,
and so
yeah.
while they don't have maybe the publishing rate of some of these other, like Hubble, for example, they still have a very specific focus and niche that only SOFIA can fill at this time.
Right.
And so I hope they continue to fund it because otherwise we would lose a really important piece of the astronomy puzzle right now.
I agree with that. It seems like, yeah, she's unique in what she's been able to show us.
Yeah.
So you fly overnight.
Mm-hmm. Most astronomy is easier during the nighttime because of the sun blotting out the visibility, and you don't want the sun interfering with the instrumentation. If sun rays get into it, it could destroy it. So,
how long does one of those flights last?
They range, but they go. The ones that I have limited experience with, I haven't been on a flight yet, but the ones that I was exposed to in plan form were both 10 to 12 hours, and so this should be similar to that. The one that we're planning on going on next Monday night.
Okay.
Or this coming Monday night.
That's a long time.
Yep.
10 to 12 hours.
And all overnight. So you have to make a little adjustment because your workday is not, if you're not an astronomer or a telescope operator, your workday is not typically during that time. And us being educators, that's not common. So there's a little adjustment, but it's fine.
Yeah. Make
it work. But yeah, long time overnight. They want to make the most use of flight time possible. So, if it's dark, let's go ahead and get the instruments working.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense. So you were there for that week that sort of prepared you. Was there anything that they certain information that they talked to you about that surprised you prior to going on a flight, or that you were happy that they had let you know that you would have had no clue about?
I think being there in person with the plane and the equipment was very impressive, and I don't think until you see it in front of your face that you can truly appreciate all of the engineering and the experience and the technology and the expertise that goes into it. But I came away from that week more than anything else impressed with the people. Like the people that are working on SOFIA are world-class individuals in their field, and not only are they beyond expert level engineers, electrical engineers, marketing specialists, managers, flight coordinators, pilots, whatever their particular role in the program is. Not only are they, expert level professionally and from a career standpoint, but they're also so good at teaching and at dealing with the public and with sharing information and with making it accessible that the average person like myself can walk up and come away with some level of understanding about what's going on, about the openness of the program, and about essentially something that NASA is investigating right now. But they're making it approachable to me, which then means I can take it to students. So over the rest of my career, right, how many students will we come into contact with? Let's say, for simple math, I've got 15 years, right, and I've got 250 students a year. If I have 125 a semester, right, I mean, we're dealing with 3,000 kids that are going to get exposure to cutting-edge astrophysics and astronomy because of this program. Yeah. And that level of approachability just does not exist anywhere else. I mean, it's amazing.
That is really actually very phenomenal. Because you think about it, most scientists, engineers, all that, they don't have to talk to a normal person coming into their work about what they're doing. And for them to be so open about that and so approachable is just great.
It was really cool. So there was some troubleshooting that was going on while I was there in December. And I got to overhear a conversation or two on a technical level between people that were highly involved with the operation of some of the machinery and what was going on. And I could not follow it whatsoever.
Yeah.
But those same people could then turn around, flip the switch, and talk to me and make it understandable and relatable. And it was amazing. It was phenomenal.
That's really neat.
Yeah, it's super cool. So not only can they do these, high level cognitive processes, but they can also, for lack of a better way to represent it, dumb it down.
Yeah.
For average Joe, right?
Because we're not used to that language, that terminology, all that kind of thing. That's awesome. Do you have something that you're most excited about for your flight?
I can't wait to watch the people work. I mean, we got to see some of that before, but our exposure to these types of folks is so limited in general that to get to witness a high level of coordination, there's going to be data analysts, there's going to be astronomers, there's going to be flight engineers, there's going to be pilots, there's going to be the director of operations, there's going to be mission commanders, and all of these different people coordinating together to have a wildly focused and directed mission. Yeah. And so I'm really excited to watch that, to talk to them about where they come from, because there's no SOFIA school. Like, you don't go to college and get a degree in SOFIA, right? So all these people have wildly different backgrounds. And I think that's a misconception for our young people, is that you can get involved in projects like this from a bunch of different approaches. Like, you don't have to think NASA, I'm going to be an astronaut. You can think, engineering or marketing or social media or communications or health and wellness. Or, any number of things. Yeah. And so that's what I'm most excited for, to watch these, world-class individuals do their thing.
I think that's a really good point. I know when I was able to announce to people that I was in the Airborne Ambassadors Program, they're like, "You're going to space. You're going to be an astronaut." I'm like, "No, I'm not." That's not. But people hear NASA, they think you're astronaut. Yeah. That's such a small, minuscule percentage of the people in the overall company and all of the programs. So that's a really good point. Yeah. Well, I'm excited for you. I think it'll go great. Yeah. Can't wait to hear what happens when you're up there.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. It should be a lot of fun.
Drink a lot of coffee.
Yes. Spill-proof cups only.
All right. Well, thanks for sharing.
Absolutely. So, where are you in the process right now?
I have done 2 of the WebEx classes so far. So we did the history of infrared astronomy.
Okay.
I started talking about what that is, the difference between that and the regular telescopes and their range of things they can view. And then we went over also the history of airborne astronomy too. So all the different types of aircrafts that have been part of it. I know that Coral was huge about when they upgraded SOFIA and how overwhelming it was for her, and that it was just so impressive going from what they had to what they're in now, because like you had said, that Boeing is the biggest Boeing aircraft there is. It's enormous. And the guy that was talking about it went over how they had, the place they went to put the telescope in was this huge endeavor, because you don't typically want to cut a huge hole in your aircraft. Right. And you have to be able to then have a door that opens and the air flow over it to where it doesn't mess up with the flight of your aircraft. So a lot of engineering went into that. So we talked about that a lot, which was very interesting actually. And that the best place for it, and you probably heard that, was right behind the cockpit. But then that would, the pilots would be stuck up front, wouldn't be able to come back, and the crew wouldn't be able to, and it just didn't seem feasible. So they changed it around. But yeah, that's all I've done so far. Is the first 2 courses.
And see, that's something too that's neat about us being in different stages of this, is that this program is more, like getting to fly on SOFIA is the culmination of the program, but it's much more than that, because like you just said, there are all these teaching opportunities that they're providing us. But then there's also curriculum that goes along with it that we get to take into our classroom. That's a 2-week curriculum that is literally putting infrared science in the hands of our kids and getting practical hands-on, lesson plans and curriculum content directly from NASA. And the program itself has many more hours than just a 12-hour flight. Yeah. And so bang for your buck for an educator. I've never experienced a PD that will be this long-lasting and this serviceable ever. Yeah. And I can't imagine another one meeting us on the same level of immersion and career-level experience that this does.
Yeah, and one thing that's impressed me so far is just in even the 3 times I've met the people that are working directly with us, they have been so welcoming and very encouraging and very much their attitude is, we are so happy you are here. It makes us feel like we're appreciated, even though we appreciate them for the experience. They also seem to be full in, like, this is so great that you're here, so that's really, it makes you just sort of leave feeling good, no matter what your knowledge level is going in. They don't care if you come in with a good fundamental base or you're there to learn more. It's all acceptable,
Thanks for listening to Science Snippets. If you like this podcast, feel free to subscribe.
If you didn't like this podcast, you're wrong. If there's an article you're interested in hearing us discuss, please leave a comment.
Thanks, friends. And until next time.